Animal Man number 12, written by Jeff Lemire and Scott Snyder, art by Steve Pugh. This is part one of the prologue to the RotWorld crossover slash event. This issue picks up with Cliff, Animal Man's son, after he was attacked by the rots in a previous issue, is very, very sick, and they're currently staying at the Swampwater Inn. Ellen is looking over him and is saying goodbye because she's going to go with Buddy and Maxine to go find Swamp Thing. And Buddy's like, hey, you could stay here with him. You don't have to come out there. And be like, no, my daughter is going out there with you. Clearly I am going to be there with. So Buddy's feeling bad about how his son was put in danger. And Ellen's mom steps up and is just like, hey, Buddy, look, here's the deal. I never liked you, clearly, but I know just from the way you look at my daughter and my grandchildren that you love them completely. So I know you're trying to do the right thing here. Just make them safe again. So they all start making their way out into the swamps. And Socks the cat is basically just walking them, leading them through, saying like, oh, Swamp Thing is over here. I can feel it in the red. He's like, I thought that Swamp Thing was part of the green. And he's just like, no, you don't understand. All of the stuff, the green, the red, and the rot, they're all interconnected. Like, okay, if you reach into the red, Buddy, and you can feel a crocodile here in the swamp, well, that crocodile ate a bird, and that bird ate a seed. Therefore, that seed is part of that bird, which is part of that crocodile, which you can sense, right? And he's like, yeah, I can. It's like, cool. Now just reach through that, and you can feel where Alec Holland is. And he's like, oh, hey, yeah, I can see him. He's over there. So Maxine and Buddy start using their powers to run ahead as Ellen's just struggling to keep up. Until finally they come across Swamp Thing and Abigail Arcane, who are standing next to a portal into the rot, and they're like, oh, we shouldn't go in there. And Buddy's like, actually, we definitely need to go in there, which was the end of Swamp Thing 11, I believe. And he says like, oh, you're Buddy Baker? Hey, yeah, no, I've felt you in the green before. He's like, yep, nope, we got a mission ahead of us, Swamp Thing. So cut back to Cliff, who's moaning in pain. The grandmother gets up to go get a wet washcloth, and when she comes back, he's gone. He's just not in bed anymore, and she's not sure where he went to. So back into the main, story, whatever you want to call it. More introductions are going on where basically they're just walking through everything that they've done in Animal Man over the past whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, I raised some animals from the dead. We went to the rot. There were Hunters 3. We beat 2 of them in the red. Then one of them came back, had the body of whoever else. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So at that point, he's like, oh, yeah, no, we also had run-ins with the rot over in Swamp Thing. So seems like we're here to fight the rot. And Ellen chimes in like, excuse me? No, we're here to get help for my son who's dying. And Buddy's like, the only way that he's going to get help is if we go and beat the rot, like, in its own home. Like, actually do this. Otherwise, he's going to stay sick. We've already beaten back the Hunters and their avatar, apparently, in Swamp Thing. So we've got him on the ropes. We just got to knock him out. And Ellen's like, fine, whatever. Meanwhile, Maxine has been looking into the portal, and she sees a future where, like, everything is dead, and she sees Anton Arcane, to which Abby's like, oh, yeah, no, like, I see it too. He's the avatar of the rot, and also I have a connection. To which Ellen's like, oh, you're part of them? And she's like, no, I'm not part of that. Just shut up, Ellen. No one likes you here. So at this point, Socks tells him, like, yeah, okay, the rot's essential, but it's growing out of control. You guys need to go in and take care of this. And Buddy says, like, Maxine, don't worry, I'll be back soon. Swamp Thing says goodbye to Abby, but they're like, okay, hold on. I'm going to take this vine from my body, and I'm just going to tie it around a tree up there, so that way we can always come back through the portal. Okay, good? That's what we're going to do. And he's like, all right, sounds good. So Swamp Thing grabs Buddy, and they jump in through the portal, and boom, they're gone. To which Abby then grabs a shotgun and says, all right, we're going to sit here and wait and make sure nothing ever severs this vine. So Buddy says what it feels like to jump into the rot, and he says, like, it's just terror and death, and it smells awful. Until finally, after what feels like forever falling, they hit the rot, like they're inside this disgusting, rotten-looking mess. We get a few panels of Cliff making his way down the road, and he just keeps on muttering to himself, RotWorld is coming. And it seems like he comes across a being made entirely of flies. They don't actually show the being, though, so it's very interesting. But then we cut over to Maxine, who also is saying RotWorld is coming, and says, like, oh, something's going on. And as they look back at the portal, we see a whole bunch of little rotlings jump out of the liquid and start attacking the three women there. And they say, so it begins. And that is to be continued in Swamp Thing number 12. I liked it. I think it was very good. I know that this issue basically acted as the sum-up issue for both series. I glanced over the Swamp Thing stuff, but they did say, like, yeah, no, I battled Seth, whatever I decided his name was as well, and their avatar of the Rot. Stuff has been going on in both books. So this one is just like, okay, if you're planning on picking up the RotWorld event, but you've only been reading one of the books for some reason, get this book, and it will inform you on what's happening in both of them. Perfectly reasonable as a book. It also did forward it in terms of it set the cliff thing in motion. It introduced the idea of you can feel the green through the red, and also the Rot. They're all interconnected. Everything can feel each other. I like all that. Solid read throughout. Art-wise, very good. I would not say it's its best artwork. I would still give that to some of Travel Foreman's crazier stuff, but Steve Pugh does a very good job here. Don't really have much to complain about, so I'm going to give this one an 8. I'm really enjoying it, and Prologue Part 2 is in Swamp Thing number 12.